Welcome to a one-story teller, where every story takes you on a journey filled with unexpected twists and unforgettable lessons. Today we bring you a tale that begins with an ordinary parking lot dispute, but escalates into something far more profound. This is the story of Sarah Collins, a woman whose stubbornness leads her to unknowingly challenge one of the most elite warriors in the world. It's a story about pride, humility, and the surprising ways life teaches us to reconsider our actions. The setting is a bustling suburban shopping center on a crisp Saturday morning. The air carries the faint aroma of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods as shoppers stream in and out of stores. Among them is Sarah Collins, a no-nonsense corporate lawyer known for her sharp tongue and unyielding determination. Sarah prides herself on being someone who doesn't back down from a fight, whether it's in the courtroom or over a prime parking spot. Her sleek black sedan glides into the nearly full lot as she scans for an open space. Across the lot, Lieutenant Commander James Carter, a decorated Navy SEAL, pulls into the same parking area. Dressed in civilian clothes and driving an unassuming SUV, James is returning from a rare weekend leave after months of grueling training and deployment. For him, this trip to the store is a brief escape from the high-stakes world he inhabits, a chance to pick up groceries and enjoy a moment of normalcy. But little does he know that his quest for a parking spot will lead to an encounter that challenges both his patience and perspective. As fate would have it, Sarah spots what appears to be the last available parking space near the entrance. Without hesitation, she accelerates toward it, only to notice another vehicle approaching from the opposite direction. Ignoring the other driver's presence, she maneuvers her car into the spot, claiming it as her own. James slows his SUV, watching in disbelief as Sarah steps out of her car with a satisfied smirk. He lowers his window, intending to politely ask if she realizes he was there first. But Sarah isn't interested in hearing him out. With arms crossed and a defiant glare, she declares that possession is 9/10 of the law and suggests he find another spot. Her tone is dismissive, almost mocking, leaving James momentarily speechless. Though accustomed to handling high-pressure situations with calm precision, James feels a flicker of irritation. Still, he decides against escalating the situation, choosing instead to drive off in search of another space. Unbeknownst to Sarah, the man she just dismissed is not your average driver. James has spent years honing skills that most people can only imagine. From surviving extreme conditions during missions to mastering hand-to-hand combat techniques, he embodies discipline, resilience, and adaptability. Yet despite his formidable background, James values humility and restraint, qualities that guide his response to Sarah's behavior. For now, he lets the matter rest, unwilling to let a minor inconvenience overshadow his day. Sarah, meanwhile, walks into the store feeling vindicated by her small victory. To her, this was simply another instance of asserting dominance in a competitive world. As a lawyer, she thrives on winning arguments and getting her way, traits that have served her well professionally, but sometimes alienate those around her personally. Little does she realize that her actions in the parking lot are about to set off a chain of events that will force her to confront aspects of herself she'd rather ignore. Inside the store, Sarah moves briskly through the aisles, grabbing items from her mental shopping list. She's focused, efficient, and completely unaware of the figure trailing her from a distance. James, having parked farther away, enters the store shortly after her. At first, their paths don't cross, but as fate would have it, they both reach the checkout line at the same time. When Sarah glances up and recognizes the man from the parking lot, she freezes momentarily before regaining her composure. James offers a polite nod, acknowledging her presence without hostility. His demeanor is calm, almost disarming, which only serves to irritate Sarah further. In her mind, his quiet confidence feels like mockery, prompting her to adopt a defensive stance. She mutters under her breath about entitled drivers who think rules don't apply to them. James overhears but chooses not to engage, instead focusing on loading his groceries onto the conveyor belt. The tension between them grows palpable as they wait in line. Sarah fidgets impatiently, tapping her foot while shooting occasional glares in James's direction. He remains unfazed, seemingly oblivious to her simmering frustration. When it's finally her turn to pay, Sarah slams her credit card onto the counter, startling the cashier. The young woman stammers an apology as she processes the transaction, while James watches silently from behind. Once outside the store, Sarah storms toward her car, eager to leave the uncomfortable encounter behind. However, when she arrives at her parking spot, she discovers something unexpected. Her tires have been slashed, rendering her vehicle immobile. Panic sets in as she stares at the damage, unsure of how or why this happened. Nearby, James observes the scene from afar, his expression unreadable. While he didn't cause the vandalism, he abhors such behavior. The incident adds another layer of complexity to their already fraught interaction. Desperate for answers, Sarah approaches a security guard station nearby, explaining what happened. The guard promises to review surveillance footage, but warns it may take time. Frustrated and stranded, Sarah reluctantly accepts a ride home from a friend who happens to be passing by. As she leaves the parking lot, she locks eyes with James one final time. There's a flicker of curiosity in her gaze mixed with lingering resentment. For his part, James feels a pang of guilt, despite knowing he played no role in the vandalism. Something about Sarah's predicament resonates with him, stirring memories of his own struggles with anger and impulsiveness early in his career. Over the next few days, Sarah becomes consumed by thoughts of the mysterious man from the parking lot. Who was he? Why did he seem so unfazed by her hostility? And could he somehow be connected to the vandalism, even though nothing pointed directly to him? These questions gnaw at her, driving her to seek closure. Meanwhile, James reflects on the encounter, realizing that Sarah's behavior mirrors patterns he's seen in others, and even in himself, during moments of stress or arrogance. Determined to understand her perspective better, he decides to track her down, not to confront her, but to offer assistance. Through mutual acquaintances, James learns that Sarah works at a prestigious law firm downtown. One afternoon, he pays her office a visit, introducing himself as the man from the parking lot. Initially, Sarah bristles at the sight of him, assuming he's come to gloat or accuse her of something. But James quickly dispels her assumptions, explaining that he merely wants to help resolve the situation. He offers to cover the cost of repairing her tires and provides contact information for a trusted mechanic. Taken aback by his gesture, Sarah hesitates, unsure how to respond. Part of her wants to reject his offer out of pride, but another part recognizes the sincerity in his voice. After some deliberation, she agrees, thanking him cautiously. Their conversation shifts from tense to tentative as they exchange stories about their lives. James shares anecdotes from his military service, highlighting the importance of teamwork and humility. Sarah listens intently, finding herself intrigued by his worldview, which contrasts sharply with her own hyper-competitive mindset. As weeks pass, Sarah and James continue to communicate, developing an unlikely friendship. They meet for coffee, discuss books, and occasionally collaborate on community projects. Through these interactions, Sarah begins to see the flaws in her approach to conflict. She realizes that her need to win often comes at the expense of meaningful connections and mutual understanding. James, meanwhile, gains insight into the pressures faced by professionals like Sarah, recognizing that her abrasiveness stems from insecurities rather than malice. Their bond deepens when Sarah faces a professional crisis. A high-profile case she's been working on threatens to collapse due to unforeseen complications. Overwhelmed and on the verge of quitting, she confides in James, seeking advice. Drawing from his experience leading teams in life or math scenarios, James helps her devise a strategy to salvage the situation. Together they navigate the challenges, reminding Sarah of the value of collaboration and perseverance. In return, Sarah introduces James to aspects of civilian life he had overlooked during his demanding career. She encourages him to pursue hobbies, reconnect with old friends, and explore new opportunities beyond the military. Their partnership becomes symbiotic, each person learning and growing through the other's influence. Word of their unusual friendship spreads throughout the community, inspiring others to reflect on their own relationships. Local media picks up the story, framing it as a testament to the power of empathy and second chances. Viewers are captivated by the idea that two individuals from vastly different backgrounds could overcome initial animosity to form a genuine connection. Back at the shopping center where it all began, changes start to take root. Inspired by Sarah and James's example, the management implements initiatives aimed at fostering kindness and cooperation among patrons. Free workshops on conflict resolution are offered, while designated kindness ambassadors patrol the premises, encouraging positive interactions. Even the layout of the parking lot is redesigned to reduce congestion and minimize disputes. For Sarah, the transformation is profound. Once defined by her combative nature, she now champions causes promoting civility and understanding. Her reputation evolves from feared litigator to respected advocate, earning admiration from colleagues and clients alike. Professionally, she achieves new heights leveraging her skills to effect meaningful change rather than merely securing victories. James too undergoes significant growth. While continuing to serve his country, he embraces roles that allow him to mentor younger recruits and educate civilians about the realities of military life. His experiences with Sarah reinforce his belief in the importance of bridging divides, whether between cultures, ideologies, or personalities. Together they become symbols of hope, proving that even the most contentious encounters can lead to reconciliation and renewal. And so our story reaches its conclusion, not with a definitive ending, but with a promise of ongoing evolution. Promise that every disagreement holds potential for dialogue, every misunderstanding carries seeds of clarity, and every act of grace can ripple outward, touching lives in ways we may never fully comprehend. Stories like these remind us that humanity thrives not on division, but on connection, not on judgment, but on compassion. Thank you for joining us here at A One Storyteller, where each episode invites you to explore themes shaping our shared existence. Stay tuned for more tales that challenge, inspire, and unite, because every story deserves telling, especially yours.